When we talk about the Nazis, we often discuss events like the Holocaust, the failed Soviet invasion, or D-Day. But one forgotten campaign by the Nazis was their anti-tobacco movement. This movement changed the way people view tobacco usage to this day. Anti-tobacco campaigns arose within the German Empire by the early 20th century. The first organization, formed in 1904, was called German Tobacco Opponents Association for the Protection of Non-Smokers. This group soon dissolved, but more anti-tobacco organizations began appearing throughout the German Empire, with the first anti-tobacco journal being published in 1912, called The Tobacco Opponent. In 1929, a German physician named Fritz Licken published a paper stating that lung cancer patients were most likely smokers. Licken is also known for coining the term passive smoking. But prior to the 20th century, lung cancer was an extremely rare disease. In 1878, malignant lung tumors represented 1% of all cancers seen at autopsy in the Institute of Pathology in the University of Dresden. The rapid increase of lung cancer cases led to many clinicians in the 1930s to support the possible link between the two. Licken's claim was also supported by the Führer himself, Adolf Hitler. Hitler was a heavy smoker in his youth, smoking 25 to 40 cigarettes a day, but he gave it up after deciding it was a waste of money. But as Hitler grew older, his view on smoking soured. The Nazis viewed smoking as a threat to the Aryan race, and even calling tobacco genetic poison. Nazis believed women who smoked were often subject to premature aging and loss of physical attractiveness, which made them unsuitable to be wives and mothers of a German family. The Nazis also claimed that a smoking mother's breast milk contains nicotine, which modern research has actually proven true. The Nazis tried many propaganda techniques to make people stop smoking, but it made people want to smoke more than ever before. By the late 1930s, smoking was outlawed in government buildings, public transit in 60 German cities, and even for on-duty SS officers. Restrictions were also put in place on advertisements for tobacco products. Advertisers were not allowed to depict smoking as harmless and were also not allowed to ridicule anti-tobacco activists. Military personnel received rations of cigarettes per day and medical lectures to convince the soldiers to quit smoking. The Nazis couldn't afford an outright ban on tobacco products because they were making so much money from taxes. An ordinance raised tobacco taxes by 80 to 95% of the retail price. These harsh tobacco restrictions did start to work by the 1940s. The cigarette consumption per capita per year in Germany fell from 1940 to 1944. But once the Nazis were defeated in 1945, tobacco consumption was the least of the government's problems. As the 20th century concluded, anti-tobacco movements in Germany have not been able to replicate the same results as the Nazis did between 1940 through 1944. The Nazis weren't the first people to try to restrict tobacco usage. Actually, the first known public ban on smoking was administered by Pope Urban VII in 1590. Funny enough, he threatened to excommunicate anyone who used tobacco in a church, but he died 12 days into his papacy, so that really didn't have much of an effect. Anyway, putting aside Urban VII, I want to know what you think about this campaign. Did you already know about the Nazis' anti-tobacco movement? And if not, were you surprised that they did this? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. I'm really interested to know what you think. Also, if you haven't already, you should subscribe and click the bell to get instant updates on when I upload next. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next chapter.